Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Lorethrough. Today is episode 84, and let's get to it. We find ourselves in the Sainted Hero's Grave. Last time, I was warming up. I hadn't played Elden Ring in a bit. I know, I'm coming up with excuses after the fact. You don't want to hear them in the moment. I can say them in retrospect. That makes them okay. So here we are in the Sainted Hero's Grave. So not fringe folk heroes, Sainted Heroes. The high-quality stuff. Costco brand heroes here. None of that great value Walmart brand stuff. So we have this little altar here, covered in wax, candles, and we find a revenant who was trapped in here. Poor guy. Almost feel bad for him. And we find the Crimson Sea Talisman, one of my favorite talismans in the game. The reason it's so nice, and we'll take a look, is because of what it does. A crimson-colored talisman patterned after an Erd Tree seed, and sure enough, it has that weaving pattern that we've seen on the Erd Tree seeds. Boosts HP restoration from the Flask of Crimson Tears. The Erd Tree was once perfect and eternal, and thus it was believed that Erd Tree seeds could not exist. And this is a unique, well, the body that it was found on is not so unique, right? We've seen burned bodies like this before, but the fact that they bothered to stick a rusty battle axe in its hand, or above its hand, technically. It's an interesting touch there. Not sure exactly what they were going for, but they don't always stick weapons in the hands of their little formless bodies. Shadow bathes in light and knows weakness. I've never noticed this unique message before on the ground. It's not like a message that the developers have left before you or left for you or other players, though those exist. It's almost like they wanted this to be a part of the dungeon. I never noticed this. Shadow bathes in light and knows weakness. Well, that is good to know. It's going to be a very helpful tip. So let's head over here. Oh, this dungeon. I'm remembering now. And we got the lightning ram roll, so you can see what it looks like. It's not bad. It's kind of effective on other players who don't see it coming. So if you use it as a surprise, you can really mess some really aggressive players up pretty well, which is kind of fun. Finish off the Revenant with the goat roll. So I wanted to show off that since we earned that last time. I don't believe there's any lore associated with it. Skill inspired by tumbling rams. Let out a bleat, then tumble forwards, clad in lightning. Tumbles can be repeated in rapid succession. Okay. And then we also had lightning slash, which is the big one I wanted to show off. So that other path we could have gone down leads over here. Specifically, I botched it over there. But that's lightning slash. It hits with an initial attack, a little zap, and then you hit him with the weapon, and then it hits with one more zap after that. That's what it looked like anyway. We'll use it one or two more times just to show it off. But it gets a little lightning buff, a little extra 85 points of damage. Not very noteworthy on physical infusions or keen infusion, heavy, none of those. But if you have it already lightning infused, because that's an option, of course. I don't know why I was thinking I was going to strafe the sweep attack of his little hatchet. Come on. But it does zap, slam, and then another explosion. It just happened to kill that other one instantly. So, in terms of it being a big hit that does damage, it's still very good. Even if the lightning buff is kind of negligible. Though the lightning buff, I believe, gets better if it is lightning infused. I would need to check that. Somebody in the comments knows. I hope. I hope you know. Maybe you don't know and you're relying on me for this information. Oh dear. But I'm pretty certain the lightning parts of the attack of the Ash of War are at least more substantial if it's lightning infused, even if the buff is the same. I can say that much with somewhat assurity. Oh, Lanedale soldiers, so we can get some defensive boys. Get in some neutral R1s here. Easy peasy. We get an imp head wolf. Okay. So sure enough, these light, and we see Rosis is actually the caricature depicted in these statues. That's probably the wrong word. He's the character being depicted in these statues. And he is presenting light, which shines away the darkness. Which, it's interesting that that was a hint left at the beginning of the dungeon. I don't know what the lore implications of that. The mechanical reason for that is they want you to have an idea of how to defeat the invincible enemies that have been shadowified. It's very Zelda-esque. Shucks. Ah. The splashes. Hey, he's throwing me off. Okay, just get on it. That's all you need to do. You just need to get on the darn thing. Don't know why these guys have so much HP. It's a little excessive if you ask me. Eating up all my stamina, though. Maybe there's a better weapon combination we could be using. That's it. Why swing one weapon hard when you can swing two weapons kind of hard and get more damage? And knowing these guys, they probably spawn forever. Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. We can use a stone sword key over here. Stick it in the imp's forehead. He does not mind. And we get the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. So we find the upgraded version of the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman. That's the talisman that buffs our physical absorption. Wrought Iron Talisman depicting a duo of ancient dragons greatly boosts physical damage negation. The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era before the Erd Tree would protect their lord as a wall of living rock, and so it is the shape of the dragon has become symbolic of all manner of protections. I'm going to need to change up my talisman inventory. It's been bugging me that I haven't done that. I keep forgetting to. I keep keeping the regular inventory pretty clean, see? And I roughly know where things are. Though it's changed enough. I still make mistakes. Have some bodies fallen from the sky. A rider to dismount. And we have a ladder to climb. So we saw a boss room door briefly at the end of the hallway there. The hallway with water. And it was not open. We have not yet found the crank to open it up. If there is a crank, like we've seen in every dungeon up until this point. I don't know why... wait. Haha. Because it doesn't take a hand, I can do both. Excellent. That jump was weird. They didn't want me to fall on something very specific. I feel like there's another one. I thought there was another revenant. There's no way there's just one. I've seen two up here. I remember. This bizarre sepulcher, sainted hero's grave, is gaslighting me. It's got to be. I'm not insane. It's insane. It's the crazy one. Very, very odd. Ooh. So we can't hurt him. He's too big, he's too mighty. Too much for us to handle. However, it's probably me being overly cautious, but Whew. Well, that worked very well. Don't you know? Okay. We set that up just nicely. Watch as I get domed by one of these guillotine blades by being too stupid to just wait a moment. There we go. Yeah, I know, I'm being greedy. I want to get done with the Altus Plateau and the inner wall of Lanedale. The first wall of Lanedale. We've summoned Battle Mage Hughes recently. I think Perfumer Trisha was on the docket, if I recall. I don't remember who's the fellow we fight in here. I don't remember in the least bit. Oh, it's the hero of Zamor, of course it is. Whew, I do good damage. Aw, I was hoping to do this hitless. Trisha, what are you doing? Hanging out? Alright, come on, Trisha. Is Trisha trying to fight something through the wall? Ah! Come on, Trisha. You got this, I believe. Don't make me do this the lame way. Okay. Yep, there was an enemy. But we got Dragon Knight Kristoff. I didn't miss it. So let's take a look there. I forgot about the giant rats. Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff. Spirit Kristoff, an honorable knight of Lanedale, who was also a devout worshipper of the ancient dragons. His skills strike down foes with thunderbolts, the dragon's weapon of choice. After the first defense of Lanedale, I love it whenever they name incidents. It feels like it didn't happen so much in the earlier Souls games. Kristoff earned the hero's honor of Erdtree Burial for the feat of capturing Godefroy the Grafted. Okay. So Godefroy, we fought him in the Golden Lineage Ever Jail. And it seems that Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff is the one who put him there. So good on him, given Godefroy was a meanie and stronger than Godric. I would love to see the two fight, though. There's videos where people have bosses fight each other. I'm curious which would be better. Because I think Godefroy has improved stats, but never gets a phase 2, while Godric, of course, has a phase 2. Okay, alright. We still have a good amount of time, and that's the end of this, so I think... we killed that. I think we're just going to do the circuit of the inner wall, then. Yep. Fine by me. I think we can go on horseback to speed this up a smidge. I should probably upgrade Dragon Knight Kristoff to show off them really fast. Do I have the materials required for that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do. Let's do that real fast. I'm running low. Running low on gloveworts. Because I can't buy them all just yet. Just yet.
Greetings. Are you here for spirit?
Okay. Want to level up. I kind of want to do the basic Lanedale boys too. Let's see if we have enough. We could get him even higher, but let's get him to +5 for now, because that's not too much of a expenditure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could even get him to +6, but we'll save that. Okay. So I guess we'll show off the Lanedale boys first, and then we'll show off Kristoff. Actually, we'll see how I feel when we get there, but let's get back to it. Upgrading things on the recording. How uncouth. Alright, up and away we go. So we get to follow this grand highway complete with absolutely massive statues of tree sentinel knights, tree sentinel guardians, smaller sentinel knights with their sideways mohawks as opposed... I guess they all have their mohawks sideways, don't they? On the statues at least. Nice fall colored trees. We already fought the gargoyle on the way up. Understandable. There's the lady who speculated, the finger reader who speculated about, we speculated a lot about, because she drops that interesting line of dialogue where she asks if we can see the Erd tree. Of course we can see the Erd tree. Here we have a bunch of these sensors? No. Diffusers. Diffusers of poisons on these giant arrows that would crash into groups of dudes. Trebuchets. You see some of the walls busted out on Lanedale itself. We can work our way up this road. And up the road a little bit, we see a lone commoner. And we haven't seen a commoner like this in a bit, I feel like. We've seen lots of nobles on the Altus Plateau, but I don't think we've seen any commoners. So he seems a little out of place. And the place where we've seen commoners like this the most was Stormvale Castle, I believe. But, he's more than he appears.
I see thee, little tarnished, smoldering with that wretched flame of ambition.
Alright. So Margit's back. Ha! But we have not lost our touch. Ooh, Greatsword's a little bit too slow. There we go. I want to know if we can get the explosion off if I do it fast. Probably not. Oh, we were able to finish him off. Margit showed up again. But he's not nearly as grand. He disappears a lot of gold and he leaves the body behind. That's the weird thing. What is Margit the Fell? He showed up again. And he seemed to have piloted the body of this commoner. And the only reason I say it like that is because he leaves the body behind. It even has ragdoll physics again. Maybe he just swapped places with the poor guy, and swapping places that quickly, one right after another, just did him in. Couldn't say. But Margit the Fell seemed to want to put out and extinguish our flame. But we've grown a whole lot since we last fought him. I'm sure somebody could go back in all the footage and find out how long it took for me to kill Margit the first time, how long that fight was, versus how fast that little exchange was. Where we've learned oh so very much. I'm not even using a strength int weapon. I was using a dex int weapon, so not optimized. How do we get up there? Oh, I don't want to break the wagon. I don't know if I can. Oh, that's okay. We got the arterial leaf. I don't think there's really anything too helpful over here. I know there's a giant. Come on, break your poise. Really? There we go. I was like, I'm giving you lots of good smacks. Drops 3k, nothing really worthwhile. I think it's just items, and not like notable or lore ones, just little consumables. So we'll head up the path a little bit. Those trebuchets I had to dodge earlier on this side of the wall. If you really don't feel like dealing with them and they're just giving you a bad time, if you come up this side, and you can avoid Margit on the way up if you really need to. There's a site of grace, and you can just exit through the doorway there. Definitely an option. Oh wait, was that dialogue? Yeah, let's see what Melina has to say.
Spoken echoes of Queen Marika linger here as well. Shall I share them with you?
Of course.
In Marika's own words, hear me, demigods. My children, beloved, make of thyselves that which ye desire. be it a lord, be it a god. But should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
So that's kind of grim. One thing I thought was interesting to note is she cranes her head back and closes her eyes every time she recites the words of Queen Marika, as if she's reading them on the inside of her eyelids or something silly like that. I couldn't tell you why she's doing this exactly. Maybe it takes a lot of mental fortitude to remember something that far off, but it's almost like she's recalling the scene herself. Maybe she was present when Marika said all of these words in specific places across the lands between. Was Melina present? I couldn't tell you that necessarily, but we can speculate, sure. And two, Marika shares some foreboding thoughts on her demigod children. She asks them, be what you will, be it a lord or be it a god. But if you become aught at all, as in if you become nothing at all, you will be but sacrifices. And so far, that has seemed a little bit true. We fought Radon. We fought Godric. We fought Renala. And they've kind of become runes for our strength, personally. Are they sacrifices for us? I don't know. But that's what it seems to mean, to me at least, that they are sacrifices for the Tarnished. And to be fair, we are striving to become Elden Lord. There's the title, Lord. So it seems that if they fail to become true lords or fail to become demigods, fail to become a god, then they will be but sacrifices. And who are they sacrifices for? I'm guessing the Tarnished, or perhaps somebody with more ambition. Hey, there's that word again, ambition. That's the stuff that Margit was pissed at us for having. But the fact that Margit showed up again at all, and in such a bizarre fashion, kind of distills in my mind his mastery of illusions. He conjures up that big ol' hammer. He can conjure up a Carian Knight sword that's golden. Erdsteel daggers that he throws and swipes with really quickly. All that sort of stuff. So it seems he's a master illusionist. Here's more of these weird tombstones like we saw all the way back at Castle Morn at the end by the boss, where there's these holes in the tombstones, reminiscent of that zone that was never finished and put in the end version of Dark Souls 3. I believe there's a zone with a bunch of tombstones that were just like this. Okay. Well, we can grab this item, and we can rush past a lot of this, because this is, even though it's neat, and I like fighting here, there's not a lot here. A couple items here or there. I wish I knew the lore significance of these silly things. Oh, there's the skeleton doing his weird nonsense. Look at that. We're going to sit down at the Grace and just have him calm down. We take damage anyways. Alright, so there is a merchant here. Let's see what he has to say.
Is someone there? A customer? Well, how long has it been?
Alright, and he sells perfume bottles, golden sunflowers, rune arcs. He sells infinite of the two kinds of golden arrows, the great and standard. He sells a distinguished great shield, and he sells the sentry torch, which we had to use earlier to see the Black Knife Assassin. Distinguished great shield featuring sumptuous ornamentation used by the scions of the great families. Due to their excessive size, these shields were at times seen as the hallmark of the little lordlings who were too timid to earn a few nicks and scratches. Don't mind the sip of my drink there. So that seems interesting. First off, it uses that word scion. We don't see that word very often. The only other time that comes readily to mind is the grafted scion, which had the child of a young lordling, presumably, and many other corpses amalgamated together in some way. So I wonder if that's who it's referring to, those scions. They're not the revenants, though they share similarities. And it seems interesting that though we see commoners, there's lots of lordlings and nobles that are nobodies. Complete, utter nobodies. They might as well be commoners, right? For how many we see scrounging for stuff, barely able to make anything of themselves. I think that's to try to show off the absolute great expanse of difference between the average Joe and a noble and then the demigods. I think they're trying to widen the divide in status, honestly. And then here we can find the prophet set, right? And then we also have the upper class robe, which is what Raya, the scout, was wearing. Embroidered bright green robe worn by noble children. Donning such a robe is traditionally the child's first show of burgeoning independence. I think that's how you say that. So we'll grab these. And this isn't a bad shield. It has a good amount of guard boost, weighs a good bit. I don't know if it's better than the Lane-Del shield. It's kind of in the same category. I should really compare the two. And we also have a note, so below the capital. So let's see what that note says. Get on with it. Short by acquisition. There we are. Below the royal capital of Lane-Del is a vast network of sewers. The well in the city below reaches deep into its tunnels. So I guess when we find our way in the capital, we should look for wells that might lead to the sewers. So he seems to be assuming. How does he know that? I have no idea. We haven't seen it yet, but the way into Lane-Del is pretty well blocked. So how he knows that at all is mighty impressive. We are going to sit down. And he does disappear. How much of the night is left? Not a whole lot, but we should have enough. So you know what that means if the fellow's just gone and disappeared. Yeah. Ooh, that's big damage. I wonder if we're still in the Terra Magical Circle over here. The damage seems similar, so maybe. Boy, we are just dunking on this poor fool. This bell-bearing hunter. I don't know why I bothered with the poison. Enemy felled. So that is our last Elemer of the Briar. And we get the medicine Peddler's Bellbearing, which lets us buy the anti-poison, anti-bleed, anti-frost, and probably anti-sleep boluses by the looks of it. Okay. Well, we still have a couple minutes. Not a lot, but a couple. I think if we pass the time until nightfall. Which is funny because it got brighter. We can go kill one other notable thing right quick. Look at the shadow falling. It's going so fast. Watch me parry the serpent nonsensically. All right. Isn't it over here? That's probably around the next corner. Yeah, it's got to be around the next corner. Oh. Oh, that does so much damage. Oh, it's almost laughable. Bonk. Ooh. Oh, that was kind of sad. Sacred Blade on a strength weapon that's blunt. I don't even have faith in it's doing that well. And we get the Twin Bird Kite Shield. A couple more of these death things. Alright, that'll be a nice note to end on. So, I think we can finish off the inner wall of Lane-Del definitely by the end of next episode, though it might take a moment. Hopefully not too long, simply because I know one of the dungeons is a smidge confusing. Okay, that's enough meta talk. Let's look at the Twin Bird Knight Shield and we can cut the episode. Shield featuring a vividly painted twin bird. The twin bird is said to be the envoy of an outer god and mother of the death birds. At dwindling levels of HP, this shield slightly boosts both attack and defense. So it kind of does the same thing as the red and blue tree branch talismans. Branch sword talismans? Yeah. Here it is. Blue, red feathered branch swords. So if you're under 20% health, one buffs defense, the blue one, and the red one buffs attack. Okay. And the shield does much the same, but in smaller quantities, but you can stack them all. In fact, if you have these, plus you're wearing Ensha's Royal Remains set, which gives you HP regen if you're at very low health, up to 18%, I believe. And for every piece of the set you're wearing, you heal that much faster. You can go into what I like to call cockroach mode, especially if you have this shield and both those talismans, where you are very difficult to deal with, very hard to kill. You can't kill that person who's doing that with just knives. You have to get a good solid hit on them. But yeah, that's it. So thank you for joining me today in episode 84. Yeah, 84. And I'll see you next time for episode 85, where we finally finish off the inner wall of Lane Dell, or this inner circuit. Thank you, and have a good one. Bye-bye.